Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's 3v3 ladder action this afternoon to celebrate the return. Yes, I apologise for the extended absence. I have been ill, as it's always the case. It's always my excuse, but this time it was the dreaded coof, which I'm still not over, actually, today. So if there are any weird edits where it looks like I've spliced two pieces of footage together, do forgive me, but it's because that's a part where I was trying not to deposit my lungs onto the keyboard, and I thought you'd probably didn't want to listen to that. Anyway, so it's an eclectic mix of Joes and pros today, we think. I probably should have done more of homework at the moment, but it's certainly in the 3v3 ladder rankings, it's Joes and pro levels. Not that that's how we usually go by, but this will be Team 1 up here at the top, and this will be Team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for Team 1, top left-hand corner, we have Sains Row. I'll probably call him Row today, because I'm not even sure. It sounds almost French. I don't know why. Sensei? Row? Sensei. But anyway, there he is, going Seraphim in baby blue, opening first land. Team member number 2 for Team 1 in the center, going UEF, how terribly sensible. It's Lexicon 7. There he is. He's opening first land. And last but not least, on the right-hand side in this season's fabulous Vivacious Violet, it's Naya Marine, we'll call him Marine today, going Cybrin, going first land, and then either second land, third air, or second air, third land, something like that. Let's check out Team 2 now down here at the bottom. First of all, we've got another Cybrin on the bottom right-hand corner. It's Ictus. He's going first land in Ferrari Red. Holding down the forwards in the centre for Team 2 in Burgundy Red this time. Another UEF, it's Balfron. He's gone first land. And last but not least, over on this left-hand side, we have Starchasm Nix. I'll call him Starchasm today. Our only Aeon in play. And Hallie Orange going first land, second air there next to the Hydro. So Team 1 comprised of a UEF, a Cybrin and a Seraphim. Team 2 comprised of a Cybrin, an Aeon and a UEF. The home nations, the home teams from the original Supreme Commander, if you will, before those dreaded alien scum came to pay us a visit. What has ye old map gen generated for us in its infinite wisdom? Well, that is the mass poop situation. Plenty of mass to reclaim dotted around, although rather a void here in the center. We have got a big old pile of mass poop in the center, very center there, and then around it this kind of void, and then we've got sort of the typical spread, if you will, 150s, 20s, 10s dotted about. Otherwise, a very wide open space, couple of redundant lakes, and that's what the average person would zoom in on when looking at this map. But me being me, I can't escape the fact that for some reason, MapGen, in its infinite wisdom, seems to have formulated some sort of gynecological topography, right, in the center there. MapGen needs to chill out, that's all I'm saying. And if you bring up the mass poop again, it's rather conveniently placed. But anyway, there we have it. So that's MapGen. Yeah, we have got a couple of ponds. Unlikely to see Navy in anything so small. Unlikely to have any significance in the game in terms of impact whatsoever. The players to watch out for today, we have top pro in Starchasm at 1862. His nearest rival is on the other side of the map, so they haven't actually measured up. They kind of repeated the formula, so the top pros squaring off against each other, sort of. If they go diagonally, which they're unlikely to do, they're probably going to be much more linear in their attacks, up and down. I suppose a diagonal line is still a line. Good one, Guile. But anyway, yeah, so the right-hand side, top right-hand side, we've got Marine. He's at 1724. And then we do have technically another pro, at least by the 3v3 ladder standards in Lexicon in the center. Everybody else is of Joe quality. And of course, the lower-rated Joes matching up against the high-rated pros, high-rated pro on the bottom left-hand corner for Team 2 to balance things out. Game quality at 99%. We wouldn't expect anything less from a ladder match. And indeed, we haven't got anything less. The first upgrade has gone down. It's Sains Row. He's going for a gun upgrade, speed and range. We have a little bit of aerial interdiction going on, some interceptors clearing the way for an early ghetto gunship from Starchasm. He's not messing around, immediately going on out hunting for engineers. Look at that, a couple of volleys enough to blap an engineer, an unsuspecting builder, as it goes about its merry business, building mexes and reclaiming and the like. No jazz for you today, sir. Nothing like it's actually been pretty successful so far. It's got probably in the region of some 7 or 8 kills. And more on the way. It's got its own personal escort. And Saints Row really struggling to deal with this. He has managed to spit out an Aya Issel and has managed to get one interceptor out. Can he shoot it down before the escort detail deal with the problem? No, he can't, but the second one will. So, Chariot shot down, but importantly, Starchasm manages to offload all of those flares onto the ground, and so there is now a lab problem deep in enemy territory behind Saints Row's backfield. Look how many mexes have been killed off here. This has been an absolutely stonking opening play here from Starchasm. You can see why he's earned the rating he has. Look at that. One. I don't know if he actually managed to expand out here in time, but let's pretend he did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 mexes. There's another potentially vulnerable one over here. So soon to be 17 mexes if these guys get the go command to go and attack. That might be the most successful, or at least one of the most successful opening gambits I have ever seen in any game of Supreme Commander. This has been absolutely crippling, and you can see it's really kneecapped Saints Row's eco early on. He's pulling in a paltry 18 to 19 mass per tick, whereas everybody else is over the 30-35 threshold. This has been devastating and will really set up the game well for Starchasm now on this left-hand side. Saints Row's would have found it hard to hold him at bay given a good start, but now he's down 17 mexes inside 7 minutes. Potentially soon to be down 18. That is wild. Still going, chasing him desperately with some FAMs here, and his APM just failing him there, not able to give his guys another maneuver command to get away from the impending threat. But what a wonderful play that is. How many mexes has Saints Row been left with after that? He's got 3 core mexes there. And he's got another 3 down here. There is a lot of mass open to these guys on this map. Looks like MapGen's been very generous indeed with resource allocation. But anyway, Saints Row, did he finish that upgrade? He did, so he's got a gun upgrade and is now advancing southwards towards Starchasm, who is yet to embark on an upgrade for his own ACU. On the other side of the map, Marine is some 18% done on a gun upgrade on that Cybrin Com. What do we have down here? Lexicon is unupgraded. How about Team 2? So we have a gun upgrade on Balfron. And Ictis about to finish an upgrade. Can we see what he was working on there? Starting gun. So that's going to be a gun upgrade as well for Ictis. I wonder if it might not have been a bad idea for him to go T2 Engineering Suite, so that while Balfron is up front taking pot shots at people, he could have been working on a forward fire base for him to retreat to. I always sort of feel like that's a more stable combination than getting a couple of ACUs to go double gun. Obviously, double gun could be immensely impactful, but more risky. Saints Row advancing now with that upgraded com. How will Starchasm respond? He's got a fair few troops of his own down here, but it actually looks like he might be outnumbered. After that immense start, he's got 18 Auroras in play. Saints Row has some 38 FAMs. I'm wondering if that's because Starchasm has been busy upgrading his eco. We have got some T2 mexes in the main base. FAM's now advancing on Starchasm's ACU, who's still pretty much almost at full health. Saucy little T1 bomber in over the top to add injury to insult. Starchasm now dipping below that 75% HP threshold, going into the yellow. He's got 7,400 hit points left on that com at current read. And now Saints Row just running out of forces here. Sarcasm doing enough with his ACU to deplete those T1 units, and then following up with his own merry band. And as a result, Saints Row will back up. Checking back in on the situation over here. Balfron and Lexicon getting into it, as is Marine and Ictis. I'm going to go to split screen here to keep an eye on these two engagements that, although they're happening nearby one another, aren't actually right on top of each other. But Balfron in serious danger here, deep into the red. Oh my goodness! A few T1 bombers in over the top. Couple that with the T2 gunships and all of the ground-based pressure. Balfron really in trouble. Sub 1,000 hit points now. He's right on top of Lexicon, but he's in a real state. Boom! First ACU down at 10 minutes 30, but Ictis also in trouble. Could we have a double ACU exit for Team 2? Yes, we do. That couldn't have gone much better for Team 1. Fantastic opening for the right-hand side, and now Sarcasm, after that immensely impressive harassment against his opposite number in the top left-hand corner at the opening of this game, now finds himself responsible for trying to carry his teammates in their deceased format through this game. He just must be thinking, man, why me? Well, he's might be saying things on comm. He's not saying anything in chat at the current time. So where are we eco-wise? Team 2, that is Sarcasm by his lonesome. He is down by about 20 mass per tick. Generative eco has got access to T2 air. Currently trying to hold Saints Row back in the center as a small band of FAMs pushes in towards that middle base. Just about doing enough to contain that threat, but he's got multiple vectors to be concerned about now. Does he have the leftover ground reforces from his teammates' bases? Does he have enough required here to stall these attacks? Actually surprised these ACUs have dropped off. Admittedly, they did shed a decent amount of HP. I'm guessing they're just playing it cautiously, making sure they don't suddenly get hit by a T2 fighter bomber strike or anything like that and get taken out. Dropping back to rep up. But with 3 ACUs, you could really do some damage. If they push down to the bottom right-hand corner or something, could take that out of play, and then it might just be game over. Sarcasm getting himself a gun upgrade, 85% done there. That's his first comm upgrade. Has got himself a T3 reactor. And you can see him immediately leapfrogging everybody else in power generation. What is the collective? Yeah, so he is now ahead for his entire team. On Team 1, it's 5.3k power to 6.2k. That suggests to me he is macroing just a little bit harder. He's, of course, behind substantially in the mass generation, which is the main eco bottleneck, arguably the much more important stat. But that extra power, I'm wondering if we're going to see some prioritization in airplay. We do have T3 air now, and it looks like he's producing air superiority fighters with quite a lot of engineers devoted to that. But he's got to try and hold on to some of this territory. He cannot yield the entirety of the bottom right-hand corner. It certainly looks like that's what Team 1 are targeting now, with this steady stream of blue units pushing down into this area. Total DPS of this band here for Sarcasm, about 2,000, and a mass cost of about 5,400. Mass cost of about 1,240 there for Saints Row. And this merry band, about 1,300. Might have enough to hold this here. Lexicon really should think about trying to sandwich this formation as his teammates attacking it from the other side. Doesn't have the units to accomplish much anyway. We have got some T2 presence here. There's a pillar. Little fire beetle platoon moving down towards the bottom right hand corner. Perhaps just looking to make it down here into this old base of Ictis. See if they can inflict some damage. Some hurried labs quickly put into production to try and chase down some of these Thams. 3 of them on the run by, looking to make it into the backfield. Looks like they've largely accomplished that, although there is a Spectre moving in to intercept. Marine parking the comm in the lake. Lexicon looking like he might be moving in to join him. Yes, he is. And it's interesting to me. There's a lot of potential firepower wrapped up in those 2 comms. Would probably be able to assist their troops in holding back this orange horde between them. 2 gun upgraded comms. Or Lexicon doesn't have the gun upgrade, excuse me. Just Marine. But even so, Lexicon, this dude's good, he says. Well, you don't get an 1862 rating because of your looks, that's for sure. How is the kill-loss ratio looking? Not interesting. On paper, not that good for the team. 0.35. And yes, Starchasm is leading the field at 0.88. Next highest is Saints Row on 0.81. But it is it's maybe not stellar enough yet to turn this around. And when you look at it, he is 64 mass per tick off the pace of Team 1 here. Starchasm, all by his lonesome. So although he's having a little bit of success here on the ground, unless he can really inflict some damage, I'd say the ball is still in Team 1's court. He's going to manage to bag 3 T2 mexes here, which should slow them down a little. I am starting to see a real lack of ground-based firepower, though, from Team 1. Looks like they're focusing on ecoing up and not producing as many ground units as they should. Engineers now hurriedly working on T2 point defenses here in the main base for Marine, just as that combination of T1 and T2 units roll up on the scene for Starchasm. Engineers going to be the priority as they attempt to get more point defense online. Really need to take down some of these reactors. Number of tanks in this formation beginning to dwindle. And a saucy little trio of Titans over in the west, just testing the outer perimeters of Saints Row's infrastructure. Solid band of Ilshivas, though, defending that position. Saints Row completes advanced regen aura and is now going advanced nano repair. Does he have a gun upgrade too? Yes, he does. So this could be a mega Rambo-com emerging here. Just hope he does something with it. Too often we see players invest all of those resources into their ACU and then it just sits there. If you're not going to use it, those could have gone into other offensive weaponry. And another trio of T2 mexes being taken out here by Starchasm. Marine has really suffered from this attack. Mass production plummeting to 52 mass per tick now, short stacking the field by a considerable margin. But still, Sarcasm is some 50 mass off the pace. Trio of Titans marching up on some of the resourcing points now for Lexicon and Saints Row, and he's got a little quartet of Titans coming in behind them too, although they are drawing some bombing fire here from T1 bombers. I thought for a moment I saw some fighter bombers in there too, but I might have been mistaken. Oh, and a T3 gunship. Why not? Throw that in for good measure. No, I'm not editing that out. One cough does not constitute a coughing fit. Sure you can handle it. Incidentally, guys, if you haven't done so already, do feel free to like, subscribe, and commentarino down in the comment section. All adds to the algo. Tell me how your day has been. I'm dying to know. Or if you're indeed excited about the impending socialist utopia that Comrade Stalin is going to usher in here in the UK. And if you're wondering why I haven't done an election special this year for the UK election, it's just too much of a foregone conclusion. For those of you that don't know, we are voting today, but there is really very little point if the polls are to be believed. Not that you shouldn't go and do it anyway and execute your rights that have been so hard won by your forebears. But yeah, it's not going to make a difference. And then it all went quiet. Suddenly all of the units were destroyed and everybody had to start building them again. Well, 21 and 40 odd seconds into the game, 21 minutes and 40 odd seconds, and Sarcasm still very much alive. And still now very much ahead. He has leapfrogged Team 1 in terms of mass production. Excuse me, should have turned that on to silent. Goodness me, everything going wrong today. What have we got here? So no power locking for Lexicon, no power locking for Marine, and no power locking for Saints Row. They are all operationally intact for power grid concerns. They are just being out-ecoed here. Ever since Sarcasm regained control over the bottom right, he has continued to tech up mexes. All of these now down here at the bottom right are TT. You can see patches of engineers that have gone about their business, doing what they needed to do. Let's have a look at total mass now. Team 1 are well up on that by about 40k. Let's look at the reclaim figures. 15k for Sarcasm, but 23k for Marine. So Marine has been on an absolute reclaim bender, and in a good way. Little push here by some of these Ilshivers that we saw earlier. Forward fire base in place for Sarcasm, complete with tons and tons of Oblivion turrets and a couple of shield gens. Major power grid and air production facilities in production. Nice little template here. One shield gen right in the center. Actually, I'm not sure that is a template because this seems off-center to me. Gonna need some shield gens around the outside for certain. Where are we now? So Team 1 starting to catch back up. 394 apiece for both of these teams now. And then a massive leapfrogging. That's got to be reclaim related. Has to be. I will accept no other explanation. Marine still yet to complete recovery of these mass points. Lexicon bagging himself one of them. Wonder if he's going to transfer control or if he's just like, you couldn't protect it, this is mine now. Com not in base, says Lexicon. I mean, this is sort of his base. A couple of miasma artillery in here wouldn't go amiss now that he's taking fire from some of these mobile missile launchers. I'm sure Starchasm will think about that, or maybe he'll just respond with a T2 gunship push. Saints Row did bring his com forward with this band of troops, complete with its regen aura and nano repair. So he wants to utilize that along with some of the standoff capabilities he's brought in here. We've got mobile missile launchers, as we said before. We've even got a couple of sniper bots. Looks like 3 for the time being. It's going to be hard for these T2 shield gens to ward off. Boom, there goes one of them. Ilshiva's being sent in now with the capitulation of that first shield. Going after some of these defensive emplacements. The Oblivion turrets will open up. We've even got the odd siege tank in play, although that first one really didn't last very long. Starchasm withdrawing his com, wisely assessing he's probably not going to be able to hold this position. And why is he not going to be able to hold it? Well, he sent all of his T3 units up towards the top right, comprised of bricks, Percivals, and the like. Let's go to split screen and keep an eye on these 2 theatres, which are happening at the opposite ends of the map. Saints Row bearing down on Starchasm's main base here. Starchasm very low on ground forces around his com, but has got the air advantage in the locale. And meanwhile, Starchasm pushing up into the main base of Marine, managing to take down a T3 reactor there. What, if anything, has that done to Marine's eco? Well, he's not power locked yet. He's got about 2,000 net positive power. That other ion reactor looking very badly damaged, though. Starchasm's com now pretty much in his base. Engineers working on a big old line of T2 point defense. Will Saints Row continue to push? That is the question. Starchasm on around 8,800 hit points. He does have double gun. However, Saints Row on a whopping 18,000 hit points with that 102 hit point a second regen when he does start taking some damage. Should make him a tough cookie to crack. In come some Titans. Saints Row does want to be careful, though. He's now drawing base turret fire from 2 different locations. The attack up towards the top right-hand corner has wheeled off away from Marine's base and in towards Lexicon, who's got a few exposed T2 reactors. Nice little chain reaction there. Gets some extra collateral damage inflicted on Team 1. Starchasm would be happy with that if he didn't have to concentrate quite so furiously on this attack down in the bottom left-hand corner. But Saints Row finding himself a little bit surrounded here. Trying to bring himself in a mobile shield gem for some cover, but that is not ideal. And he hasn't got much in the way of reinforcements coming in. Complete aerial dominance in the area, in the locale for Starchasm, and that means he can bring in gunships, and that means that Saints Row just got himself killed. Wow, it's now a 2v1. And suddenly, the picture doesn't look quite so bad for Starchasm, who once again is just about nose in front on eco. He's killed off one of his opponents. And the picture just looks a little bit rosier, I think it's fair to say. Saints Row Old's base, now in the hands of Marine. Sniper bots up front with no cover really, just getting themselves picked off by some restorers. There is the aerial interdiction. Lexicon trying to shoot down those gunships. Amazingly, Starchasm allowing it to happen despite having a large force of ASFs right nearby. Does eventually clean up those fighters. Top right hand corner now, Percival's on the run by. Attracted the attention of some broadswords who will chew through those HP pretty easily. I don't think Sarcasm's going to commit fighters to that. Indeed he isn't. Or maybe he is. Won't be in time to save any Percivals, though. Certainly looks like he's positioning fighters. I doubt now with the last Percival going down he'll bring those in. Depends what there is in the way of anti-aircraft firepower down here. Probably isn't that much. Most of the assaults so far in this area of the map have been ground-based assaults, so it might not have occurred to Marine to build up much in the way of flak and SAM coverage. That is a nice little group of siege tanks here. The Titan's just taking a few pot shots at. Marine should be able to contain this threat, I would imagine. Team 1 once again nose in front though. Look at this. Seesawing back and forth between these two teams. 6-6-5 to 5-2-5 now, and that's a significant advantage. Most of that eco coming into Marine, who's sitting on 2 base, of course. Fat Boy under construction for Lexicon. Still yet to see anything in the way of experimental production from Sarcasm. And you can really see how he's fared over the game. He was down at the sort of high 0.8 region for kill-loss ratio. He's now up to 1.15. So he's been very, very efficient in combat terms. Admittedly, he was on the defensive down here, and Saints Row got a little bit ahead of himself. Probably excited by those upgrades he'd managed to accrue, and just pushed a little bit too far, bit off more than he could chew, and found himself too isolated. And as a result, that has massively boosted Sarcasm's kill-loss ratio. But don't forget, of course, he's had some real success up here with probing attacks on the ground. And now it certainly looks like he is the dominant force in the air as he takes on both Marine and Lexicon in front of these 2 bases. And that's going to open a door for a couple of handfuls of Restorers who look like they're coming up now to put pressure on Lexicon's base. The area of the map where both comms are located. Marine's comm currently exposed outside shield coverage. It looks like he's making a play for that shield coverage, but that shield has already been destroyed. He's going to turn around, but he's deep in the red, and he's got nowhere to go. Boom! Suddenly it's a 1v1. What a turnaround this is for Sarcasm and Team 2, so much so that Lexicon, seeing the way things have gone, is already throwing out the GGs. It's not over yet, my friend, unless you want it to be. Now, all of these ion reactors are ripe for the plucking. We do have a decent amount of flak in the area. But Sarcasm looks like he's happy to sacrifice these gunships and take out these power plants, which I think is a sensible decision. Where does that leave us power production-wise? Well, it hasn't crippled him. He's still got other bases providing power, so he's got about 2,000 net positive power at current expenditure, does Lexicon. And he's also up about 120 mass per tick. But there's no 2 ways about it. Lexicon just looking like the guy who's behind at the moment. Sarcasm's been winning every single vital encounter in this game. Perhaps a little bit of an open door here, maybe. The problem being, of course, is the gunship pressure that can be brought to bear at a moment's notice. You could already see the Restorers converging on this area of the map. We've got a ton of T2 Spectres lying in wait down here. And Engineers happily pumping out more and more Oblivion turrets. He's going to let this wave of units come in. He can hit them from the skies and from the base defenses at the same time. Very efficient use of timing and military potential. Siege tanks rolling in single file. They are getting some shots on some infrastructure here, but running out of units way too quickly. Nice little snag there. Takes down a couple of reactors and a couple of T3 air factories. But at the same time, look at this push up through the center. Horde of Titans marching deep within enemy territory. Have found themselves a couple of offensives they probably want to try and get away from if possible. But look at this tidy pile of spam. Titans, bricks, Percivals. Little bit of flak in there. The odd deceiver just to make life difficult for your opponent. Why not? That fat boy's still under construction, but not necessarily close to completion. Look at that. I suppose it's taken some damage actually. You can see the progress bar here on the engineers. So it is actually pretty close to completion. It will just be completed with some hit points missing. Gunships being brought in the top left-hand corner, whilst ground forces push up through the centre. Engineers working on some defences, trying to protect this group of factories here, which is the main area of production for those siege tanks we keep seeing. But look at this. We've got gunships through in multiple positions. Nice little run by into the backfield over here. This top left-hand corner looks like it might be about to be pacified. Tons and tons of engineers now scrambling out towards the middle. Try and scoop up some of this mass poop. Reclaim situation. Massively favouring Sarcasm as the main beneficiary of a lot of the combat that's taken place where the mass has fallen, as he's been largely defensive down in that bottom left-hand corner. And I suppose, of course, we've had these probing attacks to the top right, thinking about it. Gunships just absolutely going to town. Generated eco massively favouring Sarcasm now, as Team 1 have fallen off to 472 versus 703. This game is well and truly cooked. And I think it just remains now for Lexicon to actually surrender. He threw the GG out some time ago. Probably some 7 odd minutes ago, roughly, maybe 6. Balfrom now going, GG? Question mark. It's clearly over. Has managed to get himself a fat boy, but maybe he just wants to wait till that gets killed. But these gunships are now going to come in around this main base, start picking off all the rest of these mexes, these T3s. And it will be overwhelming dominance and map control out from here if Lexicon carries this going. He's thrown out the GG again. Sarcasm says thank you. I wanted to give up. Guess when his teammates died. Your APM is astounding, says Lexicon, who really appreciates his ability to fight on so many fronts, it would seem. I'll have to see some stats for this. I'm sure there were mods where you could see that. I don't know how tidy we could make it. And there's the Control K from Lexicon. But yes, very impressive 1v3 play there. Admittedly, from the star player of the game, he was rated much higher than everybody else, but you could see why. Very, very impressive indeed. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Apologies once again for the absence, but if you did feel the absence, then you might have wanted to check out the Patreon. We did actually already have one Patreon cast out at the end of last week. Hopefully we'll have another one out tomorrow. It's a mere $1 a month. Other tiers are available if you want to be more generous, though not incurring extra benefits as yet. Thank you so much for sticking with me, though, guys, and being kind to me in my malign state and not harassing me too much. I'm sorry for the hiatus, and hopefully we get much more regular content coming out for the foreseeable future. Until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.